Today is the first day of the week. People are back on the roads a little bit. So those of you that are here, thanks for being here. For those of you joining online, thanks for joining online. Glad that you guys are here. We're going to be going over this 10 steps of lead nurture. So we do this once a month, and these sessions are really geared towards like teaching a marketing concept that you can implement. So before I get started, let's do real quick introductions. If you just want to give name and business you're with, we'll go around the room. Online, if you guys can jump in chat real fast, say where you're joining from and then what business you're with, and then we will get rocking and rolling. So Miss Tasha.
Hi, I'm Tasha from the Trip Bar in Keller. We open beginning of March.
Woo, and you guys got your sign up?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
I am Jana, and I am owner of Jana Food.
Awesome. Welcome.
Just respond to Keller Points.
I'm Tina Karen with Tina Karen Portraits and Fine Art, a luxury portrait artist here in Keller.
Awesome.
Hi, I'm April. I own Landmark.
Awesome.
I'm Danny Sample.
Whoop.
We're at Trip Bar.
Yes. So all the way from Burleson, so they're actually doing a rocket fuel retreat with us today, and we're taking this short break time. Very focused. That's awesome. So today what we're going to be going through and talking about is the 10 steps of lead nurture. And why this is really important is whenever we generate a new lead, whether that's doing something like a lead magnet that we talk about some, so when you're giving away something for free in exchange for an email, or someone comes from a chat bot or something, there's a really important sequence to follow that's going to help you nurture those leads and help generate more sales. So that's what we're going to be talking about today. If you guys haven't joined our community yet on School, we do have a neat community. It's called BAM, Be a Marketer. That's where we post up replays of these events, and we have some marketing tips and tactics. You can go to joinbam.co, or you can scan this QR code. That will take you there. And then I do have a marketing podcast. I haven't really promoted this heavily, but if you guys are podcast listeners, it's called Online Marketing Simplified. I've got over 100 episodes on there, and I do kind of walk through some online just marketing tactics and techniques. It's kind of an extension of this. So if you're our podcast listeners, make sure to check out the podcast. You can go to onlinemarketingsimplified.com, or you can just search for my name on iTunes or Spotify or any of those places to find the podcast. Okay, so let's get started. Why is follow-up so important? That's where the fortune's at. That is right. Marshall Leo with Rockbox. So the fortune is in the follow-up. If you guys have ever heard that terminology before, a lot of us just go out there and try to find new leads, try to find fresh blood and find new people all the time. And we forget to follow up with our past customers or even our stagnant or what we think of as dead leads. You got it, Jessica Spawn. So follow-up is important because it actually guides your customer through the commitment phase of the relationship. So if you think about it, those of us who are married in here, whenever you are dating your spouse, right, you have multiple steps before the proposal. So the more that you can think about kind of your nurturing, that's kind of the same thing as dating someone. You're basically helping them build the trust bridge to help them get to know you and like you and trust you more so you can ask for that commitment and ask for the sale. Very rarely is it, hey, nice to meet you, bye now, right? Or, hey, nice to meet you, let's get married. It's a, hey, let's walk you through some steps so we can get to know each other a little more and make sure we're right for this commitment at the end. So if it's an email or text nurture, it's usually a series of emails that are delivered regularly. You guys have probably seen all of my emails, and you might say, Brad, you email me way too much. And you're welcome, and I'm sorry, but you guys are here, right? Because consistency is actually more important than intensity. So if you consistently email or follow up and nurture, you're going to get better response and more engagement than like one intense thing every month or one intense thing every 6 months. And the point of a follow-up is really to close the deal, right? So if you're Drip Bar Burleson representing back here, what up? Or Drip Bar Keller or Rockbox or whatever business we're here, S&B Roofing, the goal is we want to eventually nurture you to a point where you eventually get to a close and to a next step. And then we also need to remember a customer that gives you their email address is actually a qualified lead, right? That is a digital currency. They're not swiping their card yet, but because they're giving you that information, think about that as digital currency, right? They're saying the online boutique back here, right? Like if someone says, hey, I'm going to give you my email in exchange for some more information about your company or for a discount, we need to still think of that as like a good lead that's come in. So that's considered a lead. Okay, so now we're going to walk through what are the 10 most important steps of lead nurturing. And I do have a PDF at the very end of this that you guys will have access to. So feel free to take notes, but you're also going to get this whole presentation that you can walk through as well. So the first thing that we're going to be doing is we're going to be delivering the asset. What that means is if you have a lead magnet, right, something like Tina's working on for her portrait photography, it's like, here's the colors to avoid at all costs before your next portrait session. If you want to not look like an idiot and avoid failure, you need to download this guide right now, right? So if someone gives Tina their email address, what Tina is not going to do is pick up the phone and say, hey, are you ready to book that portrait session, right? Or send an email saying, hey, let's buy now. She's going to say, here's the thing that you requested, right? If someone is trying to get an offer or a discount, or like for the Keller Point, it might be, hey, get X percentage discount off your first month or free pass to the pool or whatever. It's just delivering that asset first. And so most of these leads that are generated from a lead magnet, you are giving away that free resource. So make sure it's 100% value and you're not selling on that first email they get back, right? We're just giving them what they asked for. That's email number one. Someone comes to your site, they fill out a form, they fill out a chat bot, boom. Here's the thing that you requested, because you're going to follow up with more emails. We don't want to try to get everything out on that first email. Email number two is what's called the problem solution email. This is where you guys need to be thinking about what is the biggest problem that your product or service solves. Because at the end of the day, all of your business is in here, no matter what you do. All we're doing is solving a problem, and people pay you more for the bigger size problem that you solve. So we're going to use this second email to really highlight the problem that your customer is facing and preventing from getting what they want. And then we're going to resonate a little bit with their pain, right? We want to push into that pain a little bit. Then we're going to introduce that product or service. So again, first email, Tina saying, hey, here's the ultimate guide to avoid a portrait failure. Do not wear these colors, right? There's a little bit of curiosity there. Like, I really want to know what these colors are that I'm not supposed to wear in my portrait session. Please tell me. Second email is going to be problem solution. Hey, a lot of times people show up to these really nice portrait sessions they've invested a lot into, and they still wear the wrong colors or they come with the wrong expectation. So the solution to that is when you hire a professional photographer like me, I'm actually going to guide you through the steps so you don't have a disaster like this. I'm going to help you with your wardrobe, help you with like what you need to wear so you don't show up on photo day or portrait day and end up not having the right outcome. So that's that problem solution type email. We really want to highlight the problem that we're solving and positioning you as the expert and guide to that solution. So that's email number 2 that we're going to be sending out. Are there any questions so far on those two? And online, you guys are watching, if you want to jump in chat too, if there's any questions, my team will be happy to answer some of those in there. Email 3, this one's super easy. This is a testimonial. Because guess what? People would rather hear someone else say something great about your product or service than you. That's why I'm great at pitching Marshall, right? It's because like I'm a product of what Marshall does. Like I go to personal training at Rockbox. So I can say, man, Rockbox is amazing. This is the best personal training experience I've ever had because I get one-on-one with a trainer helping me hit my goals and keeping me accountable. And you should do that same thing too. But if Marshall was to say that, right, he's got an incentive to say that because it's his freaking business. He wants you to sign up. So it's a lot more meaningful if he was to say, hey, hear from one of our members at Rockbox working with a trainer and what he says about his experience. So don't ever underestimate or undervalue the power of a great testimonial. And also don't be afraid to ask for those. So you do photography, right? What kind of photography do you do?
So I do fine art portrait photography, mostly focusing on the women. So birth to first birthday-ish.
Okay.
Kind of. So birth, maternity, newborn, or maternity, birth, newborn, and then families.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So thinking about like when you've probably had some good testimonials come in before from shots you've done. So don't be afraid to ask for those when you get done with, a session, or you get done with, training someone and someone's on like cloud 9 of having the best experience. Don't be afraid to say, hey, would you mind if I like got you on video real fast? Like get your iPhone out and shoot it. Or saying, hey, I'm going to send you a link to, my Google My Business page so you can write a quick review. And those are the things you want to capture, and then you can use as your email for a step 3. So having that real customer story, make sure it's not about you, right? It's not about Marshall. It's not about Tina. It's not about Cheryl. It's really about, hey, this is the customer and how my product or service solved their problem. And then this is where you can start to be a little bit more on the sales side by adding a call to action. So this could say, hey, if you want the same experience for yourself, you read about this one, then here's where you can book time with me, or here's where you can buy this thing now. Make it very clear of how they can get that same thing for themselves. All right, email number 4. And remember, I'm going to send you all these slides too. So you guys definitely take notes, but I'm going to give these all to you so you have them at the end. Overcoming an objection. Thing for this a lot of time. Say like, oh, it's not the right time, or I can't afford it, or yeah, it's all these smoke screens, but no one is really telling us the real reason why. So if we can actually overcome those objections before they voice them or don't voice them, then we get a leg up on the competition, right? We're saying, hey, a lot of times people say they can't afford personal training, or they can't afford a nice portrait, or they can't afford like IV drip therapy or roofing, or fill in the blank. Oh, thank you. But your job is actually going to be to overcome those objections pretty quickly, right? So it's saying, hey, a lot of times people think this, but here is the truth about it. And then we want to show empathy first before we show authority, to be like, hey, we understand like working out is hard. Getting up early in the morning, coming to training, that's difficult. We understand like IV drip therapy sounds a little bit scary. Like sometimes people are either afraid of needles, or they have these common things that are misconceptions, but here's the truth about it. But it's always saying like, hey, we understand first. And then when we add authority, we can say we've helped this many people achieve similar goals to this. That's why you can trust us. And then it's that final, that call to action. And sometimes we do what's called that PS at the end. That's like, hey, by the way, did you also know the needles we use for IV drip therapy are the same needles they use on babies? That's true, right? IV drip therapy, ladies, yeah. So it's going to be easy. It's not going to be a big, scary needle. Okay, email number 5. This is one of my favorites. This is called the paradigm shift. And paradigm shift is where you tell a story about how everything changed for you. So like we're here with Daly and Sam over here from Burleson doing the Rocket Fuel Retreat today. And as they were shooting their videos, we're working on the paradigm shift moment. So for Daly over here, she was able to say, hey, I was training for a marathon, and I was working hard, and I was working with someone, and halfway through, something crazy happened. Like my body started to get dehydrated, and all these things started happening. And that's where she actually had to go and get an IV. And because of that IV, she was able to experience like full recovery and felt the amazing power of the IV. And as a 10+ year nurse, 15-year nurse, she's actually making the jump to be like, I have so much conviction about what the IV did for me that I'm going to do this like full time. I'm changing my whole life so I can also provide the service for other people. That's the paradigm shift. She shares a story talking about how everything changed when this thing happened. So now she's inviting you into her story. So when she says, hey, come in and become part of our program or get IV drip therapy in Burleson, it's not just a cold call to action. You're being a part of her story and learning what happened to her. And so if you're an athlete or if you've got chronic pain and you're dealing with things and you get to hear a little bit of Sam's story, then all of a sudden, the way that you're thinking starts to change. So we always start with the problem here of like, here's the problem I face, right? I was running a marathon and this happened, or I was out drinking late in a hot tub and then this happens. And then once I discovered IV drip or discovered this thing, then everything changed. So also when you're doing this, make sure you don't bash the competition, right? Because we're not saying like, you're making it different, like no one else does it like this, but you don't have to call out your specific competition and say, hey, these guys suck and we're awesome, so you should choose us. There's no one less's, Jessica, I'm sorry. But if you are, you can do it in a subtle way, just not directly. You have to be kind of secondary. All right, so the email number 6, by this time, again, if we're trying to cross that bridge of know, like, and trust, this is where we can start to be a little bit more sales focused. This is what's called the sales letter, is email number 6. This is where we want to try to close the deal and get their order, right? So if they came in from Tasha's Facebook campaign and they're learning about IV drip therapy, or they came in through the Burleson IV drip therapy campaign, and maybe they didn't buy right away, but they're getting dripped these emails. Email number 6, we're trying to close the deal. It's like, hey guys, are you in or are you out? Like we have to make a decision. We have to decide if we're gonna do this or we're gonna not do this, and we're not just gonna keep floating you along forever. And so this is where if you can do a kind of a framework like this, where you highlight the problem, and you push into that a little bit with the struggle, right? Kind of like we just talked about on the marathon piece, like, hey, I was running this marathon, there's this problem, and then I couldn't run anymore. And then there's a success story on the other side of that. And then we want to highlight the offer, right? So if the offer is, hey, we're taking 25 people that get this percentage off for pre-sales, or if the offer is, hey, come in, we just opened up our pool, and you can be one of the first ones to dip your toe in the pool, or whatever that offer is, make a very clear offer with a very clear call to action. How do we get it? Okay, Marshall, I'm ready to go. Let's go. I'm in. What's my next step? Be very clear. After that, you want to talk about what success looks like and repeat that call to action. So what is the outcome that people are hiring Marshall for or Tina for? What is the desired outcome we're trying to get? And repeat that call to action. Here's your next step to get it. And then it's good to have that PS section. Every time there's a PS, it's kind of just like a little personal touch where you can say, hey, by the way, we also have some great people that just joined and are looking forward to meeting you. Or we have a few spots open left this month. We want to help you like fill in that portrait section. We'd love to give that to you. And the clear thing here is don't be afraid to sell. Guys, all the work we do in marketing is to start conversations, but there's a big difference between marketing and selling, right? Like you have leads coming in, you're spending all this money on getting leads. You have to be not afraid to close those deals and to call those people and to move them into sales. That's how, like Tasha, if you don't mind me bragging on you, Tasha and Jason that did a Rocket Fuel retreat with us, they had Facebook ads, they have all these things going, and then they pushed hard into it. They did more automations and more ads, and they ended up closing a lot of deals and became, you guys have reached like the highest amount of pre-sales for Drip Bar, right? Yeah, they're coming in your footsteps. but out of the whole nationwide franchise, they closed more deals in pre-sales than anyone has in the whole franchise. And that's a that's a testament to a couple things. One is like, hey, the system worked to get them the right leads in, but they did an amazing job of like not being afraid to close those leads into sales and working those leads and getting it done. So that's a huge part of the process. Whenever you're thinking about marketing, it's not a magic button to automatically get money in the bank. It will bring in the leads, and then you've got to be ready to close them into sales. And not being afraid to sell, it actually shows confidence in your product's ability to overcome their problems. You guys should all have so much conviction about what you do and believe in it so much that you're not afraid to sell because you know it's solving a problem. Like if I was here and Tasha was trying to sell me into the Drip Bar and she knows that, hey, Brad's training for Spartan races, and sometimes he has toe gout when he drinks a beer, then she should be like, hey, Brad, no, you actually do need this. This is going to help you be awesome. Or if I was in Burleson, you guys would tell me the same thing. So don't be afraid to sell because you've got so much conviction of how you can help the right people. Okay, so email number 7, after you get that sales letter, there's a couple more at the very end, and we're almost done here on these 10. So email number 7 is solving a problem. So it's asking that question, what's the top problem you solve? So highlight a story that shows how you solve the problem for another customer. You want to quantify the results. The more specific you can be, the better. And then end with the question. This is where we want to drive some curiosity. Hey, are you still interested in achieving desired results? Because if you got this lead from actually doing a lead magnet, or they came as an inbound lead, they're giving you information in exchange for something else, then there was some sort of trigger in their mind that thought you were the expert in your field, right? No one accidentally filled out Tasha's Facebook lead form ad talking about drip IV. They're like, oh, I thought this was for something else. Be like, no, you did, right? If someone fills out the form for Tina, like how to not ruin your family portrait, and then she's asking them like, here, are you still interested in doing a family portrait? They're not going to be caught off guard because they knew when they were coming in what problem that she solved. So this is just where we repeat that and be very clear. Email number 8 is really important. This is where we offer tremendous value without anything in return. You're going to actually give a problem and a solution all in an email. We're not asking them to go to a page or download a thing or put in their credit card information. This is 0 ask and all give. And this should be your best stuff because you want them to think, man, if Marshall's given this to me for free, I can't imagine what the kind of stuff he's going to give me whenever I'm a paying member of his, right? If Marshall says, hey, here is 4 workouts that you can do at home every day for the next 30 days, that will get you a 6-pack. All right. And if he says, here they are right here. You don't have to watch a video. You don't have to do anything. Like do this, this, and this. Do it every day for 30 days. And what's that? I don't know. You'll have to wait for Marshall's email on that. He's drafting it right now. But that email should contain everything that person needs to get the result, right? So you need to think about what's the big problem your customer has and what's a way that you can help them start thinking about that solution and solve that problem in just an email, because this is what adds tremendous trust and adds value there. And you want to make it a little bit cliffhanger. We like to call it Netflix style. Because you guys know when you watch Netflix or watch a show, they always leave you on the end like, I'm just going to watch one more, or I really want to know that next thing that's coming. So the end of this email should leave them wanting more. So you might say something like, hey, I'm going to give you one more thing tomorrow. Be on the lookout for an email from me. Because now what you're doing is you're creating the desire and the excitement for them to get that next email from you because you've just given them something huge and amazing. Marshall just gave you what took him 12 years to discover, how to get 6-pack abs in 30 days with these 6 exercises, right? So he's like, he just revealed this big thing. And now he's saying, hey, I've got one more cool thing for you I'm going to give to you tomorrow. So be on the lookout for it. Yeah, put us all on that list. Okay, so email 9 is to remind them you have a solution. And remember here, to be unclear is to be unkind. So this email focuses on your solution, very simple and easy. A good framework for this is answering the question, hey, we help X achieve Y with Z. We help these kind of people get these kind of results through this process. And your next step is this. And you don't want to use language like this. You don't want to say connect with us, get in touch, or contact us. They're really vague. They're really subjective, and you don't know what that means. If you're selling something, it's buy now. If you want them to schedule an appointment, it's schedule an appointment. It's not, a connect with us. Like, what does that mean? What does connect with us mean? Are you going to take me to a forum or a social media site or maybe a phone number? You want to be very clear on here. So if it's, S&B roofing, and maybe someone put in an inquiry to get their roof looked at, and they've been through these emails, it could be something like, hey, if you have not chosen a roofer yet, and it is time to finally get that roof done, then we help people in the North Texas area get the best roofing experience that's hassle-free in record time. And if now's the time for you, then click here to call us and let's talk, right? There is no subjectivity to that email. It is very clear, like, okay, they want me to get the roof done, and the next step is to call. So to remember that phrase, it's to be unclear is to be unkind. So be very direct when you start to wind down these emails. And number 10, this is kind of like your breakup email, right? It's like, the takeaway close. So it's like, hey, I've asked you all these times to go out with me and you keep saying no. So apparently we're not a good fit for each other. Like, I'm not going to keep trying. And if you don't do an email like this, then you just kind of live in that world of subjectivity and you don't really have a good like authority position there. So this just makes it where it's like, hey, look, apparently this isn't the right time for you. And that's okay. That's okay. We talked about this on the drip bar for the athlete side, right? It's like, hey, we understand if you're an athlete, you might be okay with average for now, and that's okay. You know, if you want to choose not to live an extraordinary life, you know, and get drip or to come train at Rockbox, like that's okay. It's your call. But you know, when you're ready, here's that next step. This is the kind of a challenger email. You want to challenge people to get them out of their comfort zone, right? So it's like, hey, apparently now's not the right time. When you are ready to finally take action, get that new roof, or come to the point, or get fit, or get these products done, or feel better, then this is what you need to do. And this is where you send them back to your website. And remember, everything on your website, too, should position you as the guide and your customer as the hero, right? That's the big exercise that we went through today, right? It's your website shouldn't be about you. Here's why we're great. Here's how long we've been in business. Here's our products and our services. It should be about, hey, you probably are experiencing this problem with this pain, and that sucks. We understand. And here's how you can get out of that pain, and here's what qualifies us to solve that problem, and here's your clear next step. So just make it really, really easy for that person to go through those steps so you know exactly, they know exactly when they come to your website what they're supposed to do. That creates an abundance of clarity. So remember, don't just focus on how great your product or service is, really focus on how great your dream customer is going to be after they use their product or service, right? People do IV drip therapy, not because they love the feeling of getting poked with a needle, but because how they feel afterwards, right? Like the energy they get, how everything makes them feel. Same with Rockbox, same with all of you guys. It's not so much the process that they're paying for, it's the outcome or the end result of what they get after that. So make sure you're focusing on that for your messaging. And then how do we do this? How in the world do we start creating all these emails? Well, you do have to execute on a plan and actually get them done. So here's some 6 quick ways that you could do this. You could conduct a war room day. So if you've got a small team, you can all get together in that room and give some specific instructions of having people kind of brainstorm and write these different emails, launch them, analyze the results, and adjust the process. The key here is if you don't take anything from this, it's just to get something launched, right? It's doing the work. It's putting in the work and crafting these 10 specific follow-up emails, and don't worry about them being perfect. Just worry about getting them out and that they're following this framework and this process. Does that make sense? Any questions on those 10? Is anyone like inspired on ideas that they might start using? Yes, Cheryl?
My question is, how often, what's the frequency of emails?
I would keep them like a 1 day to 3 day apart. So I would say depending on the offer, like if you have a really expensive item that might be a longer decision-making process, spread those out further. If Jessica is trying to sell her cat book, it's now. It's like daily emails. Yeah. It's like, what's the problem here? You like cats, right? You like cats and you like children. So buy this dang book. It's $20. Come on. But if it is like getting a new roof or committing to like a long-term, like monthly subscription plan for Drip Bar or for membership or for like a fine art portrait, then that's going to be, you have to work it a little bit longer. So that's where it's a little bit further out.
Every week, every month, every 2 weeks, because I'm thinking I'm on the longer end.
I'd say at least every week.
every week. So not any further apart.
Yep. Yep. And that's at least for these first 10. So remember, these people came in as an inbound lead. Like they gave you their information, they're trying to get something from you, and so you've got permission to do that nurturing, rip them out.
Then after the email 10, the breakup email, we put them on a different cadence, a little more spread out, or we...
Yeah, different cadence. I would say, creating like weekly or bi-weekly emails of something that just adds a lot of value. Because we have to think like these people are now kind of in our farm club. We're farming them. We're trying to nurture them. We're not going to do like any really hard pushes right out of the gate, but we want to keep adding value to them. And so it's a good cadence for you to all think about yourselves as content producers and just be thinking about if you could write one email a week and your audience list grows and grows and grows, what would that be? How could you add more value? And that's a good practice to get in. And some of them are not going to work and you're going to fail and it's going to suck. And some of them are going to take off, and you just have to take note of those, of like what's working, not working, because.
So what I found to be helpful too is like I go to Lifetime, and so I get their emails,
Mm-hmm.
and I get your emails too. But it's really useful to kind of see what other people are doing
Yes.
as well, because the adding value part is huge. Like I just sit there and I'm like, okay, this is awesome what they're adding.
Yes.
And then thinking like, well, how can I value? Like where? Like I'm not an expert officially at like fitness.
Yep.
So like, where can I get that from? So looking at, I don't know, competitors, but looking at like similar businesses and kind of get on the email list is what I'm the long way to say that.
Yes.
Because I love to kind of see what value they're adding.
I
I was like, where am I going with this? Like,
Yeah.
just get on the email list and some people who are similar to what you're doing are solving the same problem as you.
Yes.
And see what value they're offering and kind of offer something similar or obviously better.
That's right. That's right. So those of you that couldn't hear online too, and I'll repeat it for you guys all in the room, is what Jessica said is if you find your biggest competitors, people that you think are doing really well in the space, go to their website, download their lead magnet, or get on their email list and see what they're doing and how they're promoting it, because they're probably doing something very similar to this, where like Lifetime is trying to add value. They're not just going to send Jessica 25 emails saying, "Here, are you ready? Here, are you ready? Here, are you ready?" What kind of emails are they sending you? What's in there?
Oh, well, since I'm a member, mine was more or less, but it's great. And then, I mean, it's useful stuff.
Yeah.
So it's not, so you actually want to open it.
That's right.
You want to send things you will actually want to open.
Yes, that's good.
We have a question in chat. Any tips on a good hook in the subject?
A good hook in the subject line. Great question. So I would say keeping it really short. So subject line is what people are obviously going to see first. That determines if they're going to open or not. You can use emojis. Yeah, I would say keep it short. Also personalization. So, if you're using a tool where you can put in like a first name, if it's like Marshall ... there's curiosity there. You want to always have a curiosity hook to get people to open. So keeping it short, personalization. And then if you add a curiosity hook, the curiosity helps get it open too. So does anyone want to share, like as I'm saying these things out loud, does anyone have an idea of like what they could add of value? If you were to have to send an email today that gave someone some sort of value for your business, what would that be? And yeah, so if you had one email just to either give something away or just to give value in the email itself, what would that be? And then Madison has a little microphone that you get to hold.
I don't know. That's a hard one for us, right? I can't give you a shot on your email. Okay, so for Drip Bar, I think would almost like have to give like some sort of like regime, like this is the pills or the vitamins that you could take that would do something similar. Something like that. What do you think?
I think maybe like ways to build your immune system.
Mhm.
Instead of taking 5 different vitamins, you can get it all in this one compact one
And then, of
IV
course,
therapy once a month or whatever.
Or staying hydrated would
Mhm.
definitely be one. Now, people know if they don't drink enough water.
Mhm.
So, I think even if it doesn't relate people back to your service, it just provides value
Mhm.
and says, hey, we care about you and we know what we're doing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Coconut water.
And it is the most hydrating.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Can I just say something? So when I had I'm going to do it anyway, so there we go. So I used to have a construction company when I was married. I had co-founded that. And I did emails, and I literally just did family-friendly fun. And then there was a tip at the bottom about construction or whatever. At the very bottom, I didn't talk about the company, anything. It was literally just about adding value to them in their community that they live, and they would open them and they click on the links to see what events were nearby. Because this was like 10 years ago, so before Kick and Keller and stuff existed.
Yeah.
Before all this, so like pre-social media lives, right?
Mhm.
So I compile that for them, and they open it, and they get a lot of value out of it, and we get sales because they just you're showing up. They're seeing this same business in their inbox. They're liking what they see, and then when they need,
Yeah.
they think of you off the top of their head because you're either right there in their inbox, or last week you just told them which event to go to, and they had a blast. And
Yeah.
so I don't know what that looks like today, but definitely adding value. That doesn't have to look like necessarily your business, as long as your
That's right.
business name is sort of kind of a. Does that make sense?
You're going to be seen as the Sherpa or the guide,
Yeah.
and you're going to gain a lot of trust points, right? So if it's, IV drip therapy is saying, hey, here's some stretching techniques before you do a 5K to help you like have better recovery. They're helping people already, they're becoming the expert of how do I recover well from these runs? And so when they send an email in the future to be like, hey, did you know that vitamin drip therapy actually helps you recover faster because of the absorption rate? So you're becoming the expert in the problem without it being your solution yet is kind of the secret there. So for Jessica, it's, hey, we want people in our community to know, like us, and trust us.
Yeah.
And oh yeah, by the way, we do construction, right? When your business can be an oh, by the way, and they've already solidified you as the expert in that, like who's the expert for roofing or for recovery or for, baby photography or portrait photography or coaching and fitness, and you're providing extreme value, people get excited to hear from you.
Yeah, and they keep seeing you, and so subliminally, it's like you're in their head.
That's right. Yeah. Anybody else? Any other ideas?
Their head space
Yes.
in a good way.
Yes. Awesome. So if you guys want these notes, I have this all in PDF format, really nice, and it's super easy to get them. You can just text this number. This is my Genie Rocket number, but it comes to my phone. But if you text this number with the 0320, it will send you an automatic text back with the notes. And yes, this was all built and capable of Genie Rocket. So those of you that are in Genie Rocket, you can also do stuff like this when you present with an autoresponder. So that will give you all those notes. Mm-hmm.
What?
Huh? What?
It's
Mhm.
an automation.
Yep. It's an automation. And see, I'm already getting here. Like there's Jessica Spawn right there. There's Miss Alex Howard online, maybe. And so here's the deal too. If you guys don't already have a system too, this is my plug for Genie Rocket. If you don't have a system that automatically sends out emails and does all this, it can do that in our Genie Rocket system. And a lot of you guys have this. So we're going to create this kind of pre-built workflow with just some fill in the blanks here that you can do inside of Genie Rocket. But this is a great way where you can nurture people to say, send this email, wait this many days, send this other email, wait this many days, and you can have all that automation in one place. And then, you can also do contact forms and chatbot. You can actually create inside of Genie Rocket and embed that on your website. So when people come to your website and they see a little chat thing, they can fill out the chat. That immediately can enroll them in a sequence like this too. So it can auto-respond them back via text, put them in a great nurturing workflow. So the key is how you get people in that workflow, right? So that's where these are the two most popular methods, is just a lead capture form on your website. Hey, give us your info so we can see this, or it's just a little chat bot where you can start conversations. And so if you are interested and you don't have a system like that, that is what we do on the Marketing Academy. That's where we have our weekly trainings and coachings. You, Tina, you got to come to the last one, and Marshall, for our big 2-hour one, we do once a month. That's kind of more hands-on, like Open Genie Rocket. Tasha, you were here too. Sorry. I was trying to remember who was all here. And that's a really fun one that we do. And yeah, if you guys are interested too in kind of a more like one-on-one, this is what we're doing today with the Drip Bar in Burleson. It's what Tasha's been through as well. We're doing a couple with S&B Roofing coming up. And this is where we actually sit down and help create all of this for you with me and the team for a full day. And we're actually booked up for all of February and starting to book up for March because we can only do these a certain amount of days a week. But if you're interested in getting one-on-one help where we coach you through each of these and actually create your page, create your videos, create your ads, do all the stuff with you, you can sign up on rocketfuelretreat.com, learn more about that. And I'd like to finish it with just any questions you guys might have. Are you guys inspired to go like create some emails, do some drip follow-ups?
Yes, I am. I'm inspired to pull up my iPhone. Can you talk about your personal training experience?
Yes, I can. Yeah, grab me right after this, and I'll do a video testimonial for you. But hey, the big thing too I want you guys to take away is the most successful people that are actually getting this stuff done and getting the results are the ones that take action on these things. So I want to encourage you, if you heard anything today that felt like I should try this, is make a date with yourself to actually get it done. Because we hear all the things that work, and a lot of times they just kind of pass through our head and we don't do them. But I just want to encourage you and challenge you guys to actually do some of this work for yourself and see the results. Even if it's saying, hey, I'm going to write 2 emails or 3 emails or even 1 email, just do it and get it out there into the world. Because that starts the process in that chain where you're going to start doing more and more. You're going to start to see what works and doesn't work. Because where a lot of us fail is we hear the best things that are working and we don't take action on them. So make a date with yourself to take action on some of this stuff so you can actually see the fruit of it. Because just being here in the room and agreeing with the stuff I'm saying is awesome. It makes me feel good, but I want you guys to feel good by seeing the results of the time you put in today and doing some of this work. Sound good? Bueno? All right. Well, guys, thank you for being here despite the ice. I know it's a little bit lower today because I think everyone's still like in their pajamas and kids are still at home. My kids have still been at home all week. So thanks for making it out today. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you texted that number, you'll get the PDF that you can look at and reference. And I just want to challenge you guys to do the work to start creating some of those emails and doing some of that nurturing and follow-up. So we'll hang out for a few minutes. And thank you guys for being here today. We'll catch you next time, once a month, first Friday of the month. All right. Thanks, everyone.
Well, are you gonna